there was a time when Adelaide was not a famous name in the world. And then, for this strange demi-monde, for this strange subculture of would-be vegan activists on the internet, the name Adelaide became famous. Most of us, of course, have never been there. And most of us had no contact with the real world of vegan activism that was unfolding in Adelaide all along, despite the drama on YouTube, or often with sort of no point of contact with this digital vegan demi-monde. Now, for a couple of years, I have received emails and messages from people within Patreon or otherwise. But I remember when I first started up Patreon, I got a message like this, or by conventional email. I've received messages from people in Adelaide writing to me saying, I'm a real vegan activist in Adelaide. We do real events, we do real outreach, we do real political things and real cooking demonstrations and real fundraisers. And Durianrider and Freelee have nothing to do with it. So these are from the perspective of an internet denizen, these are the two most famous people connected to Adelaide. And they're people who made the name Adelaide famous. But there's this very different, there's this parallel universe. The real world of vegan activism in Adelaide. And it's totally separate from what we imagine Adelaide to be. Now, I mainly want to rep this website. There's a beautiful website. I'll give the link below this video for the Vegan Festival in Adelaide. And, if you click on the list of speakers, this is a major event. You can see video from last year's event, 2015, but you can see the list of speakers they have coming up this year for 2016. Freelee isn't on there. Durianrider isn't on there. They're not invited. Now, I can't confirm, so I shouldn't say, but people have written to me saying that that's intentional, that Freelee and Durianrider are excluded. That's what people have written to me saying. People who are involved with this event. Obviously, those could be fake emails, but I tend to assume they're sincere under the circumstances. Not only is it the case that Freelee and Durianrider don't have a monopoly on Adelaide, but they seem to be quite alienated from. They seem to be living lives that are really separate from or even, an embarrassment to the real vegan activists who are organizing events of this kind. Now, if you click on the list of speakers, I'll just say I have been involved in organizing some real-world events, real-world lectures, and what have you in the past. I've never organized an event on this scale, but it's easy for me to imagine just how much work is involved in this. I had an email from a vegan who has a background organizing concerts, musical events, and that guy was agreeing with some of the things I said about how much work is involved. And, the process, there's an early brainstorming stage at which you can debate things, but then later on, you really need people to work as a team. Just some of the practical observations. And he was saying, yeah, this is so true, and people who don't have that experience don't appreciate that. This is an event with live musicians, with cooking demonstrations, with speakers. I don't know how many people are going to attend, but I'll tell you one thing. When I saw this video, it had 5 views on YouTube. So it's a real event. It looks from the photos like in 2015, they had a couple hundred people attend. It looks like more than 100 people came to this event in total. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I think this year they have a longer list of speakers. They'll have more. And their videos, they have 17 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm looking at 5 viewers, 4 viewers, 26 viewers. Okay. So this is big in real life and tiny on YouTube. Whereas some other people, some other voices for vegan activism are big on YouTube, but are tiny in real life or doing nothing in real life. So there's something there for all of us to think about. Now, who is on the list of speakers? A lot of people I've never heard about, and one who I've not only heard about, but who I know. Somebody who knows, and I wonder if he still knows me. So there's some kind of race car driver. Tyler Tolman is the next guy, talking about Heal Thyself. David Coles, again, I've never heard of him. He has a book titled The Insanity of Humanity, never heard of him. Layla Masson, who is some kind of medical practitioner in Bondi Beach, Australia. Then, this guy's the big name to me, Jeffrey Masson. Jeffrey Moussaieff Masson. So, this is somebody I know. I had one very memorable telephone interview with the man. It was definitely more than an hour. I forget if it ran 2 hours. That was before Skype, recorded on plastic cassette tape, that interview. I'm certainly glad that Jeff Mason, as he used to be known, I'm certainly glad that Jeff has become vegan. Jeff is a former scholar of Sanskrit. I was a former scholar of Pali. Jeff and I both led interesting chapters of our lives in Toronto at the University of Toronto. I know things about this man, and boy, if you think the vegan drama, the gossip people engage in is something, this guy, there's a lot to know about his life, and he's written about it to some extent. I think he tries to be honest in his various autobiographical accounts. He's published more than one autobiography, and he's given autobiographical autobiographical interviews. Quite a character. And yeah, I know things about that man that I'm not gonna say on YouTube. So anyway, James Aspey, don't know who this guy is, giving a lecture about peace, justice, equality, respect. Various other fitness gurus. No need to go through the whole list. This is a long list of speakers, and I'm not even getting into the list of musicians or other people attending this. So Adelaide, in some ways, is nowhere. Like I say, it's not really a famous place in the world. I think most people watching the video, you never heard about it before you became vegan. You only heard about it in connection to veganism. But when you look at this right away, you say, oh, wow, there's a real scene of people working really hard to organize real-world activism, everything from the restaurants to the cooking shows to the fitness. There's a real scene there, drawing a robust list of diverse speakers from around the world. And it has nothing to do with Freelee or Durianrider. And it's not promoted by them, it's not supported by them, and they're not speaking there, and they're not participating. And and at least in a parallel universe, they could be. I mean, it's pretty strange that the two most famous vegans from Adelaide have nothing to do with the real vegan festival, the real vegan activism that's going on in Adelaide. And it tells you a lot. It tells you a lot about, I don't know, the rift between fantasy and reality. But also, if you just click through the link and look at this website or look at this YouTube page, for some of you at least, some people watching this, there will be a strange contrast. You're thinking, Adelaide looks wealthy and safe and happy. This doesn't look like the crime-riddled hellhole that some people have bragged about on YouTube. The image of Adelaide has been so warped, just, here on the internet, here in the digital vegan demimonde. If you look it up, there's a Wikipedia article called Crime in Adelaide. In 2013, the city was ranked the safest in Australia, with the lowest rate of crime per population. The idea that Adelaide is overrun with crime is nonsense, even by Australians. Australia itself is not the most dangerous country in the world. I'm sorry, try living in South Africa, try living in some parts of Russia. Not all of Russia is that bad, but some parts are really very dangerous. Try living in Brazil or Colombia. Hey, I might as well shout out Cambodia in this video. Much love to Phnom Penh. If you just glance at the statistics, it's obvious that Adelaide had a bad reputation maybe in the 1980s and 1990s because of a very small number of high-profile cases. There were a couple of murders and a couple of kidnappings that got into the newspapers and gave the town a bad name. But apparently it was never really a dangerous place in terms of the rates of poverty and criminal behavior. And today it just seems to be totally fictional by any international standard, but even by Australia's own standards. The idea that this is a poverty-stricken, crime-ridden, tough town that produced the toughest bike-riding vegan on YouTube is just ridiculous. So all these things have been misrepresented. Now look, the point is, Freelee and Durianrider, they can act like they own YouTube, but they don't even own YouTube. They can act like they own Adelaide. They don't own Adelaide. They don't own veganism or vegan activism in Adelaide. And I've got to tell you, they don't own Chiang Mai either. What I have been told and what I believe to be true is that before they started their fruit festival in Chiang Mai, Thailand, there already was a vegan fruit festival in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and it's still ongoing. It's called the Thai Winter Fruit Festival. That antedates Freelee and Durianrider getting their idea and jumping on. And what everyone told me was, yeah, before Freelee and Durianrider got the idea, they came to the other festival. They attended this other festival. They saw that it worked well, and then they decided to make an imitation, to spin off their own version of it. So they did not even invent the idea of having an annual festival, fruit festival, in Chiang Mai, Thailand. There already was an annual vegan fruit festival in Chiang Mai, Thailand. That was something that was already happening without them. So again, I do not waste my time addressing, the stupidest of my critics, but you guys know some of my stupider critics have asked me, how dare I even show up in Chiang Mai, Thailand, that this is somehow an act of provocation against people who I have no right to provoke, right? How dare I show up in Chiang Mai when I've had reasons to be in Chiang Mai for 10 years, 15 years? I've been going to Chiang Mai for a long, long time. Chiang Mai has been a meaningful part of my life, and I've been doing meaningful work there. Humanitarian work, research work, language work, going to, École Française Extrême-Orient, whatever. They're going to the universities, going to the museums, and of course doing government paperwork. I have so many reasons to be in Chiang Mai in the past, in the present, and the future. Chiang Mai has been a meaningful part of my life long before Freelee and Durianrider got famous on the internet. I think veganism has been important in Adelaide before they were there, and it's going to be important after they leave. This is an impressive looking festival. Take a look, etc. I think many of us, obviously some people are gullible. Some people become cult-like followers for specific, diet gurus on the internet. But, for some of us, without even realizing it, we can be led into believing these assumptions. Just, for example, about how important these people are in their own hometown of Adelaide, or how important these people are in the city of Chiang Mai, when they're really not. When they're really considered as political activists, they're complete failures. If you compare the level of organization they've done to a humble owner of a small vegan restaurant, they've accomplished nothing, because there are humble people all around the world right now who work hard every day, who get up and have to clean a grill and cook vegan pancakes, or toss the salads for the day, what have you. There are people making vegan gingerbread men and vegan muffins and, iced tea and mopping the floors and cleaning the mirror in the bathroom. And at night, when all their work is done, they're sitting down and hosting a coffee clash so a couple of vegans can get together and meet and talk to each other after the vegan restaurant is closed. There are humble people doing that work all over the world, and I would guess they're part of the backbone of an event like this in Adelaide, being the scale it is. And they're not out here boasting that they're the most effective activists in the world. They're not claiming they own Chiang Mai and that anyone who sets foot in Chiang Mai without their permission is going to get beat up. Well, if I buy an airplane ticket to attend, this is a great event in Adelaide. Let's do a fundraiser. How many vegans want to go attend this event in Adelaide that has nothing to do with Freelee or Durianrider? So what? Are you going to beat me up? Are you going to threaten me to throw me in prison, defame me, threaten me with violence, threaten me that a gang of thugs is going to be on the street if I go to this vegan event in Adelaide? You don't own Chiang Mai. You don't own Adelaide. And you haven't even earned the respect of these vegan activists who have put in the hard work, the time and effort to make something really positive happen for the future of veganism in your hometown. And, it's not too late to make something positive happen. Any of you guys watching this are connected to Adelaide, but including, Durianrider Freelee, if you see this video, you can at least show these guys some respect. You can at least show these guys some thanks, some gratitude. You can say, hey, these people in Adelaide are making something happen that you never managed to make happen. They're doing it without you. So the least you can do is show them your gratitude, show them your thanks, show them your support. What up? Shout out to all the real vegans in Adelaide. And not every real vegan can be a vegan activist. Some vegans got to raise kids. Some vegans got to work 2 jobs. Some vegans are in the Navy in a submarine. Vegans are dealing with all kinds of things in their life. But anyone out there, if you're keeping it real, I got love for you. I got respect for you. I want to see this world change in the next 30 years. And this is the future. This is how it's going to change. I know it may not look like much, getting some speakers and musicians and cooks out on a lawn and having a festival, but god damn it, it's something. And I respect the hell out of it. I respect the hell out of everyone who's making that effort to make something positive happen.